morning and welcome everybody. My name is Sonam Agarwal and I am the director at Vedic Roots Online and your host for today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome back Dr. Sanjeevan Deodhar for the part 2 of Principles of Parenting for 0 to 5 years of age. As you all remember from last time, Dr. Deodhar is an MBBS doctor by education and an Ayurvedic doctor by several years of experience. He has been guiding many families to the various stages of their life. And we're very grateful to have Dr. Deodhar with us. Over to you, Dr. Deodhar.
Thank you very much, all of you, for enthusiastic response for the first seminar. And we will, as you know, this seminar is also is available online. So I'm not going to repeat most of the slides. I just want to repeat one slide though, which things are developed according to Panchakosh in 0 to 5 years of age. So in 0 to 5 years of age, the body means Annamaya Kosh is growing. Actually, if we see the growth and development perspective of the human life, this is the most crucial, most important period where the baby is learning many things without any prior knowledge. For example, a language, relations with the parents and all the relatives, how to respond to the change in environment, everything. Because therefore, during this phase, the senses are very efficient, very absorbing. They learn the things very quickly. As if we give the example, when there is the vessel or the sponge is really dry, the vessel is really empty. Whatever we put in it, it can hold it. So like that, during 0 to 5 years of age, these babies learn things very quickly. They also start learning the gross skills. Not only they learn things through the sensory organs, they also slowly start learning things through their actionable organs like legs and hands. They learn first the gross skills like sitting, standing, walking, running, then climbing the stairs, then they are coming down from the stairs, like those things they learn in 0 to 5 years of age. The life force or pranamaya strotas or pranamaya kosh is also very active, very powerful, and during these age group, if someone falls or someone has got some bruises, they heal very fast because of this pranamaya kosh is efficient and at its peak. It is powerful also, but what we should see to it that are they breathing properly? Are they breathing from nose? They are breathing very slowly. We can teach these things in 4 to 5 years of age, not 0 to 4, but 4 to 5 years of age. We can train them for breathing. The mind is also very active, absorbing, observing the emotions of the parents. So during this phase of life, actually the child learns not only whatever we speak to the child, but also the emotions behind that talk. So we feel actually that the child is not understanding the sarcasm or child is not understanding the joke in whatever we are speaking. They are taking everything only on whatever we have spoke. No, they can also understand the motives as well as emotions of when we speak. So emotional aspect of mind is evolving since 2 years of age. Therefore, if we teach the children the story which involves emotions, they get attached to it. They want to listen to story again and again. Also, we can handle the children emotionally during this phase. After 3 to 3.5 years, slowly the desires start coming. I want this, I want this, I don't want this, like this. So, but this desire, sometimes right, sometimes wrong, also has an emotional aspect to it. During 0 to 5 years of age, slowly the attitude of the child develops, which creates the basis for direction of thought. That is the third function of mind. So therefore, and everybody know that for the success in the life, the right attitude is necessary, and therefore this 0 to 5 years of age is very important as far as development of mind is concerned. In intelligence, they are very fast observers and imitators. Whatever the father is doing, the mother is doing, the elder brother or sister is doing, they want to imitate it. How we hold the mobile, how we speak on the mobile, they want to imitate it. How we read newspaper, they want to imitate. How the grandfather is walking, grandmother is talking, everything they want to imitate. So, but they are not so expressive because they do not know the language. They are learning the language. They have not complete emotional develop. Their emotional development is not complete, so they cannot express. But sometimes we as a parent think that when they are not expressing, they are not understanding, but not, it is not the case. Sometimes they understand everything, they can conclude also something from our actions, but they could not express it. So therefore, our behavior should be we should behave very cautiously during 0 to 5 years of age. We should not have the understanding that they cannot express. That means they have not understood it. And chitta, that is Anandamay Kosh, is active, and it forms a quick impressions. There are quick impressions on it, which impressions lead actually the life. So this is 0 to 5 years of age Panchakosh development, and our parenting will base on that. So we will go to the next slide. The next slide, actually we have covered the next slide, that is role of parents, considering what is love, and we will take it again. The role of parent is uh, we have discussed about what is love. Most of the times we think love as a noun, and that is the emotion or that is the expression the another person should have about us. But actually it is most of the in most of the books, it is especially self development books, it is said that the love is not a noun but a verb. How we act with the person we love, that is most important. So when we are parenting a child in 0 to 5 years of age, we should not think like that we are loving a child means child must smile and come to us, hug us. No, we should behave in a such a way that is helpful for the development of child, which is very important, which should be emotionally bounding to the child, and child should get happiness out of it. Child should enjoy, not us. That is actually love. The as in the today's world, the parents are, it is said that the parents are only economical and biological parents and not social and cultural parents. There is one actually story regarding this, but before telling that story, I just want to remind you actually one story that I have covered last time. That is a story of a development of pot by a potter. uh, Actually, parenting is nothing but an act of pottery. We are developing a pot, a beautiful vessel from mud, which doesn't have any shape, which doesn't have any character, but we are giving it a shape, a character, and we also treat that thing in a such a way that those characters are imprinted and it will be used throughout the life. So, by reminding the process of making a beautiful vessel or beautiful pot, I want to share one story. One boy actually caught by the police of a king. They brought that boy around 21, 22 years. That boy in front of the king, and king gave the punishment of uh, decapitation. That because the boy was a well-known robber in that locality, and he has killed so many people during robbery. So always we see in Western world as well as in the stories in the history that everybody who has got punishment of death punishment or death penalty, these people were asked about their last wish. So this boy also was asked about his last wish, and the boy expressed the last wish as he want to meet his mother and want to share a story with a mother. So the king said, "Okay, bring her mother." They found in one village his mother, and they bring that lady to him. And the boy said, "I want to tell you most important fact of life in your ear." So the uh, king also permitted. The mother came close to this child, and this boy actually uh, went and went very close to the ear, and he bite a ear in such a intensity that that lady shouted. And then king asked, "What you have done? You at the time of death also you want to give pain to your mother?" So he explained, actually, when I was very young, very innocent, small, I took a pencil of my friend and I have showed it innocently to mother that this pen, I like this pencil. This pencil is of my friend. I took it and brought it home. But that time my mother never scolded me, never taught me anything, never told me this is wrong. And slowly, I started stealing the small and big things. And with efficiency, with experience, and with as the time goes, I became a very famous robber and I killed people. But that started when I was very young, and mother actually had a chance to improve me, but she failed in her duty. So this is called as cultural parent. Most of the time, we saw the always the parent think about the matters which matter the future of the child. In Hindi, there are very good terms, two terms. They are Charitra Nirman and Bhavishya Nirman. Actually, they are Sanskrit terms. The Bhavishya Nirman is we think about the future of child. The child should be well placed. Child should have a very good job so that he can earn money. He can settle down very quickly. He should enjoy his life, etc. That is called as Bhavishya Nirman. But the important thing the parent must consider, that is Charitra Nirman. That is how we are developing the character of a child. Now we should close our eyes and think for some minutes or for some seconds that which are the decisions we are taking for the child are the decisions for Bhavishya Nirman, or for the we are thinking about the future of a child and taking the decisions, and which are the decisions we are doing for the Charitra Nirman or character building. We will realize that we are only thinking about, most of the times we are thinking about the Bhavishya Nirman of the child. He should go in specific school, he should take a specific stream, he should know the things early in his life so that he will be considered as intelligent, so that he will feel that he is number one in his class. Everything related to Bhavishya. But we know very few parents, for very few times we give the importance to that character. And when we start feeling about our failure of parenting, that is during teenage or when the child becomes of 16 years or 18 years of life, and they do not follow whatever we told them to do, although we know that is the best for the child, all the flaws come, those flaws are from the character aspect, not the bhavishya aspect. And that character aspect starts damaging the future or bhavishya of the child. So when we are not focusing on the character of a child, the problem comes from that aspect, and we are only focusing on the bhavishya or future of the child. Therefore, most of the time We are economical and biological parents. We provide them what they want. We provide them and we have given birth to that child. But are we developing our children socially, especially their character? Actually, we should think on it, because there are so many doubts about it. We don't even know about our own character is right or wrong. So this is most important thing. The next point is, child should feel as if he or she is a king or queen of the house. We take example of our own self. When we are in a problem, we go to the person or we go to the group where who has given us the feeling that we are important for them. We are, otherwise the advice is available free of cost in the market. If we discuss our problems to anybody, everybody is ready to give advice. But are we really want to follow those instructions? No, because we think that who are they? Are they really interested in my progress? Are they really interested or happy when I am really happy? So this, when this feeling comes in our mind, when the feeling comes in, actually we feel that feeling, then only we think of listening to their advice and try to follow it in our life. So therefore, before we start advising and giving instruction to the child, we should at least give him a feeling that we are for him, we are for her, and their happiness, their growth, their interest is prime to us. So when we give them that feeling, then only we can expect that they will listen to us, and whenever is required, they will come to us for the advice when they feel in their later life. So if we are failing to give this feeling to the children, mind well, they are not going to come to us to take advice. And even if as a parent we think that it is our duty to give them advice, and we gave them the proper advice, they do not intend to follow it. So it is very important. And how we do that, to feel them that he or she is king or queen. In most of the shastras, or most of even the folk tales of India, or I think might be in every country, when the young one comes in the family, all the rules and regulations of the family changes. In Indian philosophy, it is said that they are nothing but the one of the incarnation of God, that they come in your house, and you should consider them as a god. Like when there are small kids, we say that the Ram Krishna आपके घर में खेल रहे हैं. So they are as good as Ram and Krishna in your house. We always call our small children as Are Raja, aise mat kar, Are Rani, aise mat kar. What is Raja and Rani? That is king and queen. So we call them like that, we express our feelings like that, and actually we behave with them like this. To do that, next point is, we have to our lifestyle, we have to change our lifestyle as a child centric lifestyle. What do you mean by what do us mean by a child centric lifestyle? Child centric lifestyle is nothing but, whatever we do, whatever we speak, whatever daily schedule we plan, we must have our child at the center of it. Maximum care, maximum time, and maximum comfort to our child is very much important in our house. Like even a house arrangements also, like choice of furniture, choice of a color, choice of a wall. If the child wants to draw something on a wall, we should designate one wall for the child. Or even a furniture, we should have such a furniture which can be easily cleaned, which can be uh, which cannot be tampered easily by the child. Because to protect the furniture, if we are scolding a child, it is actually a wrong on wrong on us as a parents. It is a simple knowledge that we should love the person and use the things. But when we scold our children for uh, damaging furniture, for spoiling the clothes, or for doing something which they think as an enjoyment, we scold, we actually damage this principle. We love the things and use the person or use a child. So we should not do that. I can give the example of my house also. When my son, the elder son Gaurang, was see 1.5 years old, we have to shift to the another house and we want to purchase a furniture. So I purchased a furniture which is a teak wood furniture without a cushion on it. It is ergonomically designed. So even if he spoils something, even if we do something on the furniture, I just want to take a wet cloth and rub and clean it. So I am not coming in between he and his enjoyment. That is the child centric lifestyle. We will discuss this afterwards also. The second most important principle, which is very, very hard to follow, is don't say no to the child and do not risk his life or her life also. So, this principle, if we can follow, here intelligence comes. Here, intelligence is required. The parent should be very innovative, and therefore, if the child is handled by more relatives, it is useful because at least someone in the home, the child can connect to himself or herself and they can grow. So don't say no to child means what? Many of the time, the parents' observation is that child, before saying yes, starts speaking no. Are you going to eat now? No. Do you want this? No. Are you going to sit with me? No. Please sing a poem to these our relatives? No. So why most of the times the child speaks no and not yes to the parents' expectations? Uh, One of the teacher in a primary school actually observed this when she has got a child, a girl of 2 years of age. She actually counted in a day how many no's she spoke to the child and how many yeses she spoke to the child. So she observed that during 24 hours, she has spoken around more than 100 no's to the child. Mother, should I do this? No. Mother, should I go there? No. Mother, brother, I do not want to eat now. No, this is the time. You should eat. Like that. And how many yeses? She exactly counted only 11 yes. So what we have seen in the Panchakosh development, that child is the quick imitator. Child feels that saying no is much important job than saying yes. So she or he imitates that. If I ask something and mother says no, she is big, she is caring for me, so I also want to care for the mother. So when mother asks something, I will say no. So this is a simple mathematics in the child's brain. So therefore, do not say no to the child is a very important principle during 0 to 5 years of age. So the second question comes, the child want to put his hand in a burning candle flame. Should I say yes? Or child wants to jump from the 6 feet. I know that he or she is going to break his arm. Should I say yes? So no. Actually, it is a very tricky situation. Sometimes the demand of a child is such that it is not possible to fulfill that demand. So how we are going to take care of a child as well as do not say no to the child. There is one story from the pastimes of Ramachandra in Ramayana. Actually, Ramayana talks about the childhood of Rama very little, very less information is available. For Krishna, a lot of childhood pastimes are there, but for Ramachandra, they are very little. But one story, how the Kausalya is taking care of Ram, is very well known and very we can learn from it. That is, when Ram was playing, he demands for a moon to play, and Kaushalya, she is very intelligent mother. She is very actually caring mother. She, but she knew that she is not going to bring a moon for Ram because it is impossible. What she does, she took 2 3 pots of water, fill the pots to the fill the pots with water, and took them at Purnima night, and show Ram, see, not only one moon, there are 4 moons have come to play with Ramachandra. And when Ramachandra observes those pots, he can see the reflection of moon in the pot. Ram became very happy and hugged his mother Kaushalya, that she has fulfilled his desire. So such thing, we have to find out some innovative things. We have to dawdle his mind in something else, but without saying no. We should, as much as possible, we should grow our child. We should care our child. The next point is, do not create fear in the child's mind. This is another wrong thing we do as a parent in the 0 to 5 years of age. Sometimes the child is not sleeping. We say, if you are not going to sleep, the ghost will come and bite you, or the big dog will come and shout at you, or policeman will come and take you. So like that, we create so many fear in the child's mind. Most of the time, what happens? Most of the times, during adult age, we have fears of so many things we should not have fear of, and we are adding these things uh, by our own hands in the child's life, that the child should fear these things also. Using the fear as a tool to tell a child to do something what we desire is a very simple tool, but it is a very primitive tool also. The fear should not be a motivation for doing any activity in our life, because the fear increases stress, and stress is not good for our life, for a child's life also. So do not create fear in child's mind. We will go in on the next slide. Then, do not do this, do not do that, do that. Then what to do? The question is like that. So for that also there are some principles. The first principle is, early is not always good, especially in regards to information or skill development. Early is not always good. Here, if we compare the story of Mahabharata, so Mahabharata, in the story of Mahabharata, we see when the Kauravas and Pandavas were introduced to the citizens of Hastinapur. They are introduced to the citizens of Hastinapur when they became learned. They became, like, now they can took a responsibility of, as princess, say around 18 to 20 years of age. They were introduced. Till 18 to 20 years of age, there were so many experiments, so many their guru Dronacharya gave them all the weapons. These students took their weapon of choice and became successful. They learned the weapons, and then they were introduced to the society at the age of, say, 18 to 20. Before that, they everybody gave them time to become successful or become wise or become good at whatever they have chosen. So early is not always good. When should child start writing? When should child start knowing A, B, C, D? It is a particular age. It is said that formal education should start at the age of 6. In Vedic times, it is not black and white. Like if you are 5.5, you are not allowed. But if you are now 6, then you should go. Otherwise, it is not good. No, the simple test was if a child can hold the opposite ear by his hand going above his head. Like if I raise my right hand, then fold it around my head and hold the left ear by the right hand, and same like from left hand my right ear, then now we can start a formal education. And formal education means reading and writing. Informal education means hearing and speaking. So formal education starts when the child can hold the opposite ear by his hand over the head. Why it is so important? Most of the times now the students have the problem of handwriting. They are not using colors properly. They do not have interest in painting. They have lost interest in so many things because we have introduced those things very early in their life. If only the gross skills are going to develop in 0 to 5 years of age, and we have given them a pen and a paper or a pencil and a paper to write, which is not a gross skill, but it is a more of a subtle skill, then their minute muscles, hand muscles, are not even developed. They cannot hold the thing also in their hand. The things fell down by uh, uh, fell down from their hand, means they do not have developed a strength also as well as skill also for holding a pen, and we are asking them to write A, B, C, D. It is bound to happen that they will not have a good handwriting, good speed, or they are not going to enjoy this writing also. So sometimes we think that this school or this syllabus is better because that syllabus gives the information early in life. Means in India, it is the SSC syllabus, that is State Board syllabus, introduce you to the calculus in 10th standard or 11th standard. But the NCERT syllabus or CBSE syllabus introduced you to the calculus in 8th and 9th standard. The people consider that the CBSE syllabus is better than SSC syllabus. But it is only not, it is not, it is just an information. When we are introducing to the information, doesn't make the child intelligent, clever, and wise. So wisdom is altogether different. How to use the information and how to take decisions based on the information is very important. That is wisdom. Wisdom doesn't come by if we introduce the information early. Otherwise, there is a good example of Duryodhana. Duryodhana always used to say this. In Sanskrit, it is called Janami Dharma, Nacha me pravrutti, Janami Adharma, Nacha me nivrutti. That means I know what is dharma, I know what is right, but I am not interested and attracted towards what is righteous. I know what is wrong. I know how not to behave, but I cannot live that behavior. So, what type of knowledge is this? What type of information is this if we don't know how to process it and take wise decisions? So, therefore, this is very important. Don't compare your child. Early is not always good. The second point is natural exposure. As we know from the Shastras, we came from the five great elements. They are divided as earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And so we have a natural attraction towards these things. So as a child also, the child wants to play with a ball, play with a water, play with a, uh, uh, want to feel a air, want to feel a fire. They want the empty open spaces. They want to play with the mud, play with sand, play with play in the seashore with water and sand. So actually, children doesn't want any toys as such if we permit them to have a natural exposure. But most of the times, as parents, we have some problems with this uh, safety or health. We have a fear of health. If we expose too much with cold and too much with water, then they feel sick. But I want to give an example. So judiciously, we must expose the children to this natural thing. I want to what I have observed also. Most of the CEOs and many of the people who are high ranked from the Indian origin came from the two premium institutes from India. It is IIT and IIM. So if we go to the campus of IIT, IIM and research institutes, you will feel the ratio of trees and buildings is altogether opposite from a downtown. There are so many trees and there are some research buildings in between. So why this natural exposure is there? Because it is proven fact that if we are exposed to the nature properly and rightly, then creativity comes down. We become more creative. And in our life, the most creative age of our life is most creative lifespan is 0 to 5 years of age. So if we keep them very close to nature, we expose them to the nature properly, then they will develop, they will have a creative power, imagination, it will be developed and they will become very good individuals. The next point is involve children in day-to-day activities. Most of the parents have a question that the child has so many questions and so many things and so many thoughts in the mind that it is very difficult for us to give proper time to them and how to involve them. It's always a question that when I am cooking, when I am doing something, when I am washing, when I am taking care of the clothes, what should we give to the child so that the child will remain engaged, learn something, and uh, will not disturb us also during the during very early hours or during very haste hours of our day-to-day activities. So the simple solution is that involve children in day-to-day activities. If you are cooking, give them small pots which are not so expensive or taking care of safety of a child. Give some pots, give some spoons, and actually we should cook on their. They can visualize us while we are cooking so that they can imitate. So if we involve children in day-to-day activities like cooking, or if we are taking care of clothes, we are just um, drying the clothes, or after dry we are neatly keeping it. Give them handkerchiefs so that they can also fold it very properly. They will learn how to fold the cloth or a handkerchief properly. If we are doing some, it is not always that we are engaging them in the painting and pottery and we are doing something else. Keep our child as much as possible with us. They will slowly learn whatever we want to show them just by observing. So involve children in day-to-day activities. The next point is maintain, support, fan their inquisitiveness. Again, this is if we want to become a good parent in 0 to 5 years of age, the two more important qualities we should have in ourselves. Those two most important qualities. Out of that, the one most important quality is patience that we lack a lot. And second is enthusiasm. and have observation how the child is learning. So I want to give some examples where we lose our patience and we kill the inquisitiveness of a child. The first example is if a child got hold of one small utensil like glass, stainless steel glass and a spoon. What every child will do is start beating a glass with a spoon. And first one ton hears the sound for first time when one metal piece hits the another metal piece, a different sound which is not easily available in the nature is created. That is ton. So this realization is an innovation for that child. He has never heard this sound before. So he hits it again, ton, and again, ton, and again, ton, 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 ton. And that child is learning. Oh, this is a sound. But now, what is our patience level? What is the direct expression of a lady or mother of a child? She shouts at the father because she was doing something important things, and father is reading a newspaper or watching a TV. See, your son is doing such a noise. At least take care of him when I'm while I'm doing some housework. That means when the child is annoying, that is father's son, not both parents' child. And so this is again the very wrong expression we use always. But now the child is learning, the child is enjoying the sound. And there is one educator who says that if we have some patience, after 20-25 times the child bangs that glass with a spoon, child realizes that the sound coming is the similar sound, and now I have understood how when the two metal pieces come together create a different sound, and child himself will stop. But we don't have patience till that. Similarly, when child starts walking, and the child is coming from one room to the another room, and he listens to the sound of banging of door, dhad, and he realizes, this is a different sound. When a wooden door hits the wooden plank, a wooden frame, the certain different sound comes, dhad, and he does it again, dhad. Now the mother and father are worried that when the door is coming, if the child's fingers go in between, if if the door hits the child itself, then what to do? And because of this lack of patience, again we stop the child. Now same thing happening. He has never heard a sound. He's taking, he's enjoying that sound, and he wants to learn from that sound. But we do not have patience. Here, patience is, we should have a safety measures also. We should observe the child, but fan their inquisitiveness, because this inquisitiveness is the basis for the interest in gaining knowledge. What we do during 0 to 5 years of age, we kill their inquisitiveness and expect them to learn a lot during school years, where they have understood that whenever I have shown the inquisitiveness, it disturbs my mother and father. So these are the experiences they have of the childhood, and we are expecting them to become inquisitiveness, to take interest in learning. So we should know the basic learning process of a child. Actually, everybody learns by three things. Number one is called as pratyaksha praman, that is by experience and observation and absorption. Second is anuman praman, by experimenting and taking readings out of it. And shabda praman, if someone of authority gives us the knowledge directly, that if we stand in a cold winter night uh, for entire night and temperature is sub-zero, you will die by hypothermia. So these are the three learning processes. There is no fourth process. The children, because they have not developed intelligence, as well as they have not yet defined the authorities, who is who and from whom we should learn, they learn only by pratyaksha praman, that is experience and absorption. So if we have a lifestyle, if we have our home in which they will get the realization of pratyaksha praman, understand something by experience and absorption, it will be with them for life. The next point is, till 5 years child should be well protected in a family. Actually we have uh, now it is a very logical statement, because we have said two three things, that we should maintain, support and fan their inquisitiveness. Second thing is that we are we should behave with them as if they are king and queen of the family. It is only possible in well protected family or during the community of well wishers. Otherwise, if we expose the child to the harsh reality in the outside world, where the people are thinking of themselves and not to the other person, it is very difficult for the child to have a feel that these people are really caring for me. These people are for me, whatever I do, wrong or right. And this feeling is very important. If the 5 year age old child have a feeling of this about his family members, elderly parents, and some friends, uh, family friends who are in the community, then it is a very good start for the next life or for the next parenting time, that is 5 to 15 years, where we train the child, where we actually work on the character of a child. So therefore, till 5 years, the child should be well protected, mostly if possible in a family. The next point is, appreciate uniqueness of each child as a different individual. Here again, we remember the story of Mahabharata, that the all the princes are introduced to the society when at the age of 18 to 20, when they have fully developed the pots are fully developed with a unique design, unique size, unique shape, and then they are compared. Then who will be crown prince and who will be other princes out of 105 princes, and also they are compared in the community, with the community's opinion. So when the pot is ready, when the vessel is ready with proper design, proper, then comparison is okay. But during the work in progress thing, if we compare even the two children of a same family, if we start comparing, we know that they are altogether different. Means we doubt that are these two are our own or
own children or not. So this is very
very important not to compare. I want to share a story here. It is a story from South India. Uh, a king named Krishnadev Rai has a very good minister named Tenali Rama, and they used to discuss about these life principles where they were. And the King Krishnadev Rai always used to test the knowledge and wit of Tenali Rama. So once at the bank of Tungabhadra river, a King Krishnadev Rai took one stick and pulled one long line on the river sand and asked Tenali Rama to shorten it, to make it a small without touching the line. Now, without touching a line, how we can make it a small? A very simple thing what Tenali Rama did is took a stick and draw a bigger line just beside this existing line. So when that bigger line came, then the perception is that now the earlier line drawn by Krishnadev Raya is smaller than now newly drawn line. So when we compare, that line has its specific length, width of its specific width is there, a specific character is there, which is unique. But when the second line was drawn near to it, and we start comparing it with, then that line became short, small. Same thing happens with our children. We do not have a proper vision for a child, and so we start comparing it with other children. And although it has got some uniqueness, still we think that it is a longer or shorter in the group. So it is, do not compare. Comparison kills the individual differences which are required for a healthy lifestyle as well as a healthy society. We will go to the next page. Then what to do? Now we are going to discuss with a certain simple things what we can do for our child. We start with the food. Food is very important. Till the 6 months of age, the child should get a mother's breast milk. If the child, it is not possible for a mother due to other engagements that she should feed, she is not feeding her child with a breast milk, I think it is an insult of a motherhood. Because that is a prime requirement of a mother as well as it's the bonding time. Why mother is close to the child than a father always in a life is because this extra bonding time, extra effort she has taken for the child. So mother's breast milk till six months, exclusive mother's breast milk till 6 months of life, and then till 1 year of age she can give the breast milk along with the external preparations. But those external preparations are mostly not totally, they are homemade and homemade with love. Most of the times we calculate the nutritional quality of food, how many nutrients are and micronutrients are there, but the love in the food is most important character, and this is possible only at home. Actually, the next point is, if we want to have a good food for a child, even for us also, a very simple principle that the ingredients should be fresh, seasonal, natural and wholesome. Everybody know what is fresh, seasonal, natural and wholesome. The second thing is, do not expose the child to synthetic ingredients. The next point. What do we know? What do we mean by the synthetic ingredients? Synthetic ingredients are nothing but the ingredients which doesn't have the nutritional value, and they are put in the food just to preserve the food or have a good taste or color. That is synthetic colors, synthetic flavors and preservatives. So the child should get the food which doesn't have all these three ingredients, because child doesn't want those ingredients because they are not nutritive, and most of the times during that age, if they are exposed to such chemicals, there are chances of the weak immunity system leads to cancer or infectious diseases. In Bhagavad Gita also there are specific chapters discussing about food, specific shlokas discussing about food. And you will in Ayurveda, the big section is dedicated for food, so I will not discuss much about food, but very simple. The food should be sattvic, that is in the mode of goodness. It should be nutritive, and it should be tasty. But out of three, the sattvic or in the mode of goodness is the most important thing for a child. We will go to the next point, that is clothing. Again, as we know, we like natural more than the synthetic. So the clothes should be made up of natural fibers like cotton, like silk, like jute, etc. It should be suitable, and even wool. It should be suitable for the season and growth. So if I am sitting in India, the children should have a minimum clothes, especially in the summer. And if we are putting some clothes, then they are light colored, they are made up of cotton, and they are loose, so that the child can grow easily. And even if the sweat comes, it is absorbed. It should be based on a need of a child and not a fashion. And do not connect our status to the children's clothes. Most of the times, what I have observed is the very synthetic or very shiny clothes are worn, or three-piece suit for a child of a 5 or 6 years of age. Actually, this is not a need of a child. That is our need, our status. So do not connect our status. Next point: do not connect our status to the children's clothes. If we love the child, if we love our ego, then the thing is different. I want to put forth one point. Many of the people will disagree or do not like this, but I want to discuss it out. The use of diapers. Actually, in India, the diapers are introduced in last 10 years. Before that, there were no diapers, or only the rich people used to use the diapers for their children. But now it has become a need for everybody, because it has become a status that the child should not spoil anything else than a diaper. But everybody of you know that the adult diapers are also available in the market. So I recommend, if we want to experiment the children with a diapers, we should use one adult diaper and try to literally urinate in that diaper and think and feel that how it feels to us, and then ask a question, that are we really loving a child if we are using diapers for 24 hours? I'm not against using diaper if we are taking a child out of our home for say half an hour or 15 minutes or 1 hour, but not more than that. And I have seen the children who use extensively diapers, the toilet training has become much difficult. Uh, in my relatives as well as my children, they are toilet trained say around the first year of life. So this is very important. This is very important thing for clothing as well as use of diapers. So if we cannot sustain diapers on our body, don't use them on the children also. So we will go to the next slide. Which utensils we should use, or which things we should give in the child's hand? So for utensils for cooking, the natural utensils like silver, bronze, brass, and stainless steel are okay. The best is silver. If you have a lot of money, don't waste on costly electronic gadgets. Replace all the utensils from our home with silver utensils, and everybody will get the health benefit out of it. If not silver, then bronze. If not bronze, then brass. If not brass, then steel, stainless steel, but never go beyond stainless steel. The earthen vessels are also good for cooking utensils, but the availability of earthen vessels, especially in metropolitan or western scenario, is very difficult, and we cannot handle it also properly. But the next point is avoid plastic, thermocol, paper, and chemically coated, especially aluminum vessels and glass vessels. They are called as, they drain energy out of body rather than give energy to our body. The next important thing is toys. Here, can we imagine a childhood without a toy? And again, the next question is the definition of toy. What is toy? So we think that toy is a separate entity which is purchased exclusively for a child, which doesn't have any use as such, but the child becomes happy by seeing it and playing with it. But as far as child is concerned, the definition of toy is different. The thing which I can play with and gives me a pleasure, and it is not damaging. It is not. I'm safe with that thing. This is toy. So for a child, a simple small vessels, cooking vessels are a toy. For a child, a newspaper is a toy. For a child, a small gadgets in the even the pen pencil are a toy. Even the wallet of a father is a toy. So we think that the toys are something different than what we use in day-to-day activities. I want to share a story of a Bhavika, a little girl. Now she is elder, I think, but when I met her, she is a 3.5 old, 2.5 year old. Actually, she lives with her parent and grandparent near the Hyderabad airport, and her father is a maintenance manager of aircraft in Hyderabad airport. We guide the couple during entire pregnancy, and now the child is 2.5 years old, and we went because of that. There is a 5 years gap on Hyderabad airport when while we are going to Jagannath Puri. We went to the house of Bhavika for a lunch, and we observed that Bhavika was just 2.5 years girl. She got mixed with my children within 5 minutes. My elder son is 14 years of age.
Younger son is 10 years of age, much bigger than that girl. But still, she started playing with them, exchanging the emotions with them, laughing with them, making some faces like that. And at the time of lunch, she took all the small katoris and the water glasses. Then she helped her mother during serving, and then she even served us a rice, although not perfectly, but she served a rice to us, and she was involved in the entire activity of eating. And then afterwards, she helped us. She helped her mother in cleaning also, because we sat on the ground. She can observe everything. So I asked how it is possible that it is very interesting. So her father told us that she doesn't have a toy. She thinks whatever we are doing are the toys only. When we first messaged our relatives that we received a child, a baby girl, immediately during that message only we put one condition. If you are coming to visit us during birthdays or to visit us to see Bhavika, we request you not to bring a toy for Bhavika, because we are experimenting with this little girl, not giving toys to her, but giving her the day-to-day utensils or day-to-day things to play, so that she will be more involved in a house rather than those toys. And I have actually seen the dramatic how the way that that girl is enjoying everything. Miss, during 2.5 hours of our visit, when we left for catching the flight, she cried like anything. She was emotionally involved also, not just physically that these brothers have come and I am playing. She cried. Means these type of emotional expression, I am now it is very difficult to see. So we should actually ask ourselves what is actually a role of toy. Are we blunting the senses, or are we emotionally evolving the child? So the toy should be realistic. Realistic means if we are giving, if we think that we should give toys, then those toys should have some actual natural expression in the actual world. For example, if we are giving a horse, then horse should look like a horse, actual horse. If we are giving like a monkey toy, then that monkey should look like a monkey. We should not give the Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck toy because they start searching, or Tom and Jerry toy, because they expect that all the all the mice and rats should be like a Jerry, but it is not possible. So no cartoon characters. Next, please. No cartoon characters. No soft toys. Soft toys actually are not healthy, and they take it. They sleep with it. Actually, the child should sleep with mother and father, but mother and father sleep separately, and the child is sleeping with a soft toy. And cleaning of soft toy is very difficult, and it is made of synthetic fibers. It is not natural. So avoid soft toy. If we can give the naturally made, means the toys made up of wooden toys, or the metal toys are better than the plastic toys or thermocol toys. And the most important thing for 0 to 5 years, no screens, no electronic toys, and no games. But the question comes, my child doesn't want to eat anything if there is nothing on the screen. That question will be dealt afterwards actually, but no screens as much as possible. So then we will go to the next slide. The celebrations. Actually, the everyday is a celebration for a child. Means if we see the in most of the cultures, means I know about the Indian culture, we celebrate birthday of a child for every month till 6 months, and after 6 months we celebrate a birthday on ninth month, and then first year, and then afterwards every year we celebrate birthday. So how to celebrate a birthday or any cultural event? The event should be first cultural. It should not be just to show how much rich I am and how things I can manage, I can organize. If the event is for the child, like birthday or something, some puja is there, Namakaran Didi is there. So child should be at the center, not the menu or mother and father of the child. The event should be like that. The event should stimulate creativity and not consumerism. Next point. What it means? The stimulate creativity. Actually, next point, please. Stimulate creativity and not consumerism. Means if I want to celebrate say birthday, I am not going to the market with a big list and everything is purchased and just given to every person. I must create something in my house, and if possible, with the help of a child. It might be crude as far as our adult eyes are seeing it, but for that child, doing something and give it to the friends or give it to the parents is a different feeling. So create something. Give homemade food. Next point. Always use homemade food for this. Try to learn some recipes, but the food should be homemade. And we must teach at least, or we must focus on at least one good quality. Means during this festival or during this celebration, I want to teach a child one good quality. Not directly, this is a good quality, but by showing the example, by behaving like that, or by asking others to give blessings like that. So, and involve a child in the arrangement, so it feels that it is the arrangement I have done, that the daitva both or responsibility, feeling of responsibility slowly comes with the involvement. I just want to share one birthday event I attended where the grandmother is very active and very culturally educated. What she has done, with the help of an elder brother of that child, she have made 50 blessings, 50 chits written on each paper sheet, a blessing like simple blessing. Your handwriting should be very good. You should speak always the truth. You will become very healthy. Your lifespan will be more. Yeah, like that. The simple blessings that we want to give to our children. And ask the small brother whose birthday was there. I think it's a third year birthday, to go in front of every elderly person, to touch his feet, to give the respect, namaskar, every elderly person, and ask every elderly person to take one chit out of that collection of chits and read it loud. A blessing uh, read in loud. So when everybody done that and everybody has a different blessing for the child, they realize what positive things we can ask for a child. And this is then copied. This event is copied in most of the birthdays. So this type of activities, experiments we can do during celebration. The next point is family connect. Yeah, the while doing housework involve the child. I think I have discussed it a lot. Try to keep the child on such a level so that he or she could observe what you are doing. This is actually previously, this is very simple because the child used to play on the ground and the mother used to cook while in the sitting posture. That time in the ancient India, everybody used to sit and prepare rotis and rice, and nobody is standing and cooking. So if we cannot sit and cook, then we should keep a child, a 3 month old, 4 month old child, at the, in a such a level that the child can observe what we are doing. And we should also speak to the child. Now the mother is eating a milk for you, or now the mother is preparing something, a rice, which is very healthy, like that. The communication should have an emotional aspect more than the information aspect, because that time the emotions are developing but not the information gathering center, that is intellect. So if we discuss while what are we doing and the child can observe, then the child gets a connection with this household work. And then afterwards, if we expect or if we ask child to do something, then child will happily do it. Otherwise, currently we observe that if we ask something, the children of 10-year or 11-year-old children, the first answer is no, I'm not going to do it. Actually, we trained them like that, therefore they are giving such a response. We will go to the next slide.
Prabhu, sorry to interrupt, Prabhu. So,
The second thing, what we can do best if we have only one child is plan for a second child. This is not just the emotional requirement of a child, actually it's the cultural requirement of humanity. What are the benefits of a second child? The first child will get a companion of his own age. He will realize how to behave with a person who has a similar age. He or she starts sharing. Socialization is much easier in the family itself if uh, there are two children. Then the teaching and learning starts when we have two children. Then handling, how to handle emotions, because if there is only one child and all others are elder, actually we can show the entire slide. Uh, all others are elders, then handling emotion are much easier for a child because nobody is objecting or nobody is getting hurt. But when the child has a younger sibling, then it is very difficult And slowly, child realizes that everything doesn't belong to me only there, and I have to share, and I have to handle my emotions in such a way that my younger brother or sister should not also get emotionally hurt. Again, the emotional bonding with the people with the similar age, and how to fulfill their demands, and how to uh, get fulfilled our demands. Everything can be trained with the example if we have two or more children. So, for the parents who are in the reproductive age group, and who want the development of their child should be best, they should plan for a second child. We will go to the next slide. We will discuss only very shortly the sanskaras during first month and during first 5 years of life. The sanskaras, this is a separate presentation, so I'm just touching here that Jata Karma Sanskar is done at the time of birth for purification of body. Namakaran Sanskar or name giving ceremony, 12th day, to create a separate entity. It is the first step to develop in during development of the child's ego. Then Karna Bhedan Sanskar or ear piercing, 13th day, for protection from the from hernia and improves grasping. Nishkraman Sanskar, that is first outing, that is third month, for exposing the child to the five great elements. Then Annaprashan Sanskar, first external food, sixth month, for development of digestive power and taste for the outside food. Then Chudakaran Sanskar, hair removing Sanskar, for in third year of life, for long life and sharp intelligence. And there is a role of Janma Patrika, Janma Kundali, and Prakruti of a child. That those are different aspects, but with the right type of Vaidya or Ayurvedic practitioner, if we find out the Prakriti of a child, and with right Jyotish, if we find out the Janma Kundali or Janma Patrika of a child, then you will realize that there is a different body nature and mind and intelligence nature of a child. And if with knowing that differences, if we do nice parenting, then it will be helpful. Actually, it's thank you very much for allowing me. Next slide, please. Thank you very much for allowing me to present my thoughts to you. I have presented some idealistic thoughts, some practical tips also. I think you will take the best from it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Deodhar. It has been a very informative and enlivening experience to know what is the ideal standard for parenting from 0 to 5 years. We have some questions and I'm going to read them out for you. The first question is, there is a tendency for people to say that the child should have started walking by now or talking by now. Is that not putting pressure to do things earlier than what the child can?
Yeah, actually, we standardize everything, but we must understand that the living things cannot be standardized. It is said in the literature that not two leaves and not two rose petals are same as the another petal. So therefore, we discuss the point of comparison. It is not always the intellectual comparison. The parents can compare various things, like the relative's daughter started walking even at the 7th month of her age or 8th month of her age, and my son is not walking. He is no, he is 1 year now, but he is not still walking properly. So the most important difference is about gender. The girls, because they are slightly lighter in weight, and they are quick to learn, and they are made like that, the girls take everything early. Even their maturity age also, means puberty also, come early than the boys. So boys will be always sluggish. So that is one observation, that do not compare development of a girl with a development of a boy. Boy will be 2 3 months minimum, will be slower than that of girl. There is a biological and scientific explanation for that, but I am not going in that. So uh, and second thing is, during boys also, never compare, because gene expression can come at any time, and there is a very variedness in this. So if the child is not walking at the age of 3, it's okay. It is we should concern. But 1.5 year to 2 years, not to worry. Everything there is, if even during the standardization also, there is a bell-shaped curve or Gaussian curve, we say. So there will be 3% on each side of that Gaussian curve, will not be coming close to the standard mean. That is, the child should walk in 10 to 12 months. No, 3% to 3 to 5% children will not walk at during that age. So comparing and forcing a child, if we see, if some parents want their child to stand up early, they end up in the bow knees. It is called as the legs become like a bow, and they need to go to the orthopedician to straighten those bones. So we have said that early is not always good. Do not compare, and let the child develop on its own, because sometimes these motor skills, the children are slower in the motor skills, but their grasping is high. Sometimes the children are very quick in the motor skills, but the understanding power is less, or they both is good, but they are not steady enough to learn something. So every child has got different sets of activities, different sets of genes. So do not compare is the number one thing. And sometimes it is better to discuss with some counselor or some doctor rather than forcing a child to do the thing.
Thank
The
you.
next question, please.
Thank you, Dr. Deodhar. The next question I have is, what should we do as parents if the child starts learning negative words or may show negative behavior, like hitting or screaming or saying no? Sources can be different, like other kids, TV, other people. As a parent, we cannot restrict exposure of our kid. So what can we do in this situation?
Yeah. Um, See, here the parent is very intelligent uh, while articulating a question. But I will say to it that number one is, if somebody has taken or taking a poison, there is no other remedy available in the medical world without stopping, and first stopping that person uh, to take a poison. So the question itself has that we cannot restrict it. So as much as, at least in a mind, you should pray to the Lord that I want to restrict the child's exposure, because everything first will come in the mind and then it will come in action. But if our mind is such a that mind is telling us it is not possible, you should have a different solution to it, so it will not happen. That restricting the exposure to such thing, first of all we must find out the source from where these bad words or from where these bad habits are coming. And if we know that these bad habits are coming from these sources, like it is enlisted here, that from the other people or from the television, then we at least we must try plan our schedule in a such a way, or plan the and or develop someone else who you trust to take care of a child, so that they will have a minimum exposure. See, child doesn't want anything else from their parents than a time. If we can give a proper time to the child, then and slowly, because during these 0 to 5 years of age, we cannot teach a child that this is bad, this is good, this is, you should not do this, you should not do that. But we cannot give instructions to the child, but okay, emotionally we can show When the child behaves very nicely, we can emotionally say, we can laugh, we can hug the child. If the child is not doing properly, not behaving properly, shouting, throwing the things, and etc., we should show by emotions, by our actions, that we are not happy with it. It is not good for the child, and it is not good for us also. We are not happy with it. Just by showing our emotions, expressing ourselves, not verbalizing ourselves, but expressing ourselves, slowly child realizes that. But for everything, these things, there are no quick fixes. We have to spend the time. Before a correction, a simple correction, we have to give some positive time to the child. Some good things what the child has done, we should praise the child, not praise like verbally praise, but we should show that we are happy with it, what the child has done good. There is one thing, a management principle is that whatever we focus on will grow. So if we always focus on these negativities of the child and always try to just give him the corrective actions, slowly you realize that these bad habits are increasing. So while training also, we should have a focus on the good things the child is doing, and just neglect, just show by our example, and emotionally show the child that you are not happy with whatever the child has done. And I think uh, the child will realize it and improve on it. But shouting on it, verbalizing, giving the logical answers, and uh, uh, using sarcasm will not help. Next question, please.
Thank you. There's another question that one of my children is 2 years old and the other one is 10 years old. How should I
Yeah.
manage this situation?
Yes. Means one child is in Lalayat Panchavarshani and second child is in Dashavarshani Tadayat. So two different skill sets are required for parenting. For the 10-year-old child, how what things we should do and what we should not do is a different 2 day seminar. So I will not go in it. But how should be the relations between 2-year old child and 10-year-old child, and how to develop that relation as a parent. I will touch these points now. Uh, if the child is elder enough, like this 10-year-old child, we should talk with this child in presence of a younger sibling, or without a presence of a younger sibling, as he or she is a responsible now, and he or she can take care of his or her elder brother or sister. So how to talk or how to behave with the elder son? My In my experience, uh, when I'm the elder son of my mother and father, and I got a younger sister. She is around 3 years younger than me. After her birth, my mother and father started calling me Dada. In Marathi, Dada means big brother. Means in South India they say Anna, like that. Dada means, slowly means, they are calling me as a Dada. That means they are giving me respect, and respect comes with a responsibility. So simultaneously, my little sister started calling me Dada only, not my own name. So when she is calling me Dada and my mother and father calling me Dada, I started behaving like a Dada or big brother taking care of my younger sister. So it will not mechanically happen. It will not happen mechanically. It will not happen by just giving a one lecture to a elder sibling that you should take care of your younger sibling, because he or she has enjoyed the uniform intention attention from both the parents. So and now this attention is divided or shared, or rather not shared. It was taken away from a younger sibling. So he or she is emotionally disturbed. So that disturbance should not affect their relationship. That is a responsibility of us as the parent, and that can be achieved by respecting respecting the elder sibling, and giving him the responsibility, and also training a younger sibling that you have three parents, the elder sibling as well as we too. So small things you can ask from this big brother or big sister, and for that you also give the respect to this big brother or sister. So this is the thing. So never scold this elder son or daughter in front of the younger sibling. You can train him, you can tell that this is wrong, this is, but not in front of the younger child, so that he will feel protected. He feels that my self esteem is maintained by my parents and not exposed to the younger sibling to tease. So, and he will become or she will become responsible, and they will have a very cordial and very nice relation, and we can enjoy their relations also, that blend or test or feeling of the relations or their interactions. Is it okay, or any other
Yes,
explanation?
thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Deodhar. Those were the questions for today. I just want to take this opportunity again to thank you for your time, for sharing your wisdom with all of us. And I know I can speak for most of the parents, all of the parents who were on the call, that we had an amazing learning experience, and we look forward to having you back on these seminars, which are titled Ancient Wisdom for Modern Parenting. As a reminder to all our listeners, this seminar is brought to you by Vedic Roots. We are a licensed preschool and elementary school in Scarborough, where we offer education based on the Panchakosh system of Vedic education. And we've been offering these seminars on various aspects of parenting. So you can, we hope that you will be able to join us in the future as well. And we look forward to having Dr. Deodhar with us again as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Deodhar.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.